Wyclef Jean, BKS1 Radio. Let's go.
This is Essence Atkins, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Hi, this is Melba Moore, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
Yo, check it out. What's the deal? This the chef. Giving a big shout out to my peoples. Big KS, you already know what it is. Salute.
What's up? It's your girl Monifa, and I'm hanging with BKS1 Radio.
Hi, I'm Iyanla Van Zandt, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
BKS Radio, baby.
Hey, this is Jasmine Guy for BKS1 Radio.
What's going on? This is Lamont Rooker, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Shout out to BKS1, the best kept damn secret in the business.
Hey, what's up? This is Raven Goodwin from BET's Being Mary Jane, and shout out to BKS1.
Hi, this is Leon. You're watching BKS1 Radio.
BKS1. God bless y'all. Wyclef.
Hello, and welcome to BKS1 Radio. It is your girl Chanel, and of course, I am here with the wonderful Miss Queen B, who is a little muted right now, but she is going to come off mute so that she can speak and so that we can do this show together. And this, oh my God. And we are not in studio tonight because we decided not to travel. So we are in our homes the way we were all of COVID, but we're still doing the show. We can still do it. We're still good. We have a very important show that we're going to be doing tonight. As I mentioned in a video I sent around not too long ago, we are going to be talking about one of the most important things, and you all know that is credit. Yes. It's important. It's essential. It is life. It is all of those things. So we are going to get into that a little bit around 7:30 or so. But in the meantime, first and foremost, on this Tuesday evening, Miss Queen B, how are you?
Really no complaints. The first thing I want to do is give a shout out to all the Muslims on today. Today is Eid for us. So I just want to say happy Eid to all those and all that good stuff.
Right.
And I'm good. I feel peaceful, relaxed, and great. I'm excited about our topic today because we need to know so much about that, especially slightly post-pandemic. I guess we'll talk about that in a little bit too.
Yeah.
But slightly post-pandemic, I know that a lot of people's credit went away. And some actually, helped their credit, and they were able to build back up, and some credit went away with people losing jobs and things like that. So I'm excited about that and all the stuff we're going to learn tonight. And other than that, we want to pay homage to Biz Markie, who we lost on the other day.
Yeah. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, may he rest in peace. But I just was trying to bring the words out of my mouth to say he was a force to be reckoned with in the game. I just remember his song.
Of course.
We all knew the lyrics to that song.
Yeah, you got what I need.
But you say he's just a friend. That's what I was thinking in my head. Yeah. So shout out to that. Also, huge hugs and prayers to Keisha Coles, who lost her mother, Frankie, on what would be her 61st birthday. God bless her.
So it would have been her. She passed on her birthday.
On her birthday, she actually brought her birthday in, partying, and then she succumbed. And I'm not even going to say how. We really don't know, and I don't do the rumor thing. So we'll wait for, I guess, everything to come out. But God rest her anyway, because that is somebody's mother, that was somebody's daughter, that was somebody's sister. You know what I mean? And a human being. So shout out to her. I know she coined a lot of phrases like man down. It's a man down situation. She just was hilarious, hilarious about a lot of things. So I've been watching a lot of clips that people have been replaying. And she was hilarious to me. So
absolutely.
Like I said, shout out to her family. And that's it from me. How about you?
I'm doing well this Tuesday. I am, here, worked all day. By the grace of God, I am still here. Another Tuesday doing what I do, trying to take care of family, take care of myself, do what I need to do. the health and wellness business. You know, you and I got some things that we are working on that should be coming up very soon that we're going to be able to tell the people about.
Yes.
You know, putting some plans together, putting some events together, doing what we do, working hard as usual, but finding time to play and relax and enjoy ourselves too. We had our families together over the weekend. Which was, we had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, you know,
yes.
we always get together. So again, life having some sort of balance of work and play and taking care of yourself and taking care of others, you know, the whole, you know, all of it. So tonight is just a bit of focusing on also things that are important, our topic for this evening. So, you know, we talk about things that go on in media. We talk about things that go on in celebrity. We talk about things that go on, you know, outside of ourselves. But, you know, in the process of getting ourselves together, in the process of getting your life together, in the process of, you know, like what people say all the time, get your life. In the process of getting your life, one of the main topics is what we're going to be talking about tonight, which is credit. And it's something that I don't think we talk about enough in the African American community. And I don't think it is taught soon enough.
I
agree. In many households. I feel like people of other races, this is something that is imparted in them from very young. I'm going to say well before 18, because, you know, they don't succumb to that first credit card you get when you're 18, when you're in college, and you start accumulating a bunch of debt the way a lot of us do and have done. And so that means that credit is taught in the household a lot sooner, a lot earlier than we do as African Americans. So
I will say there are disparities in the income that we make. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's first and foremost. And then the second thing is what we do when we get money, when we receive extra money or things like that. We're really not taught. We're really kind of on the survival type of mode a lot. I think there are certain plans that are in place. Like you said, a lot of our counterparts do not succumb to the credit, obtaining the credit card when you're in college, because they used to throw that at us. My daughter actually is funny because she came home like, "Ma, I could get a credit card." And her concept of a credit card was like, "No, sweetheart, that's not it. They're not giving away free money. You know, that's not it."
We think of spending. We don't think about paying back. All we see is this free money notion, like, "Oh, I can go buy this because this is, you know, $100, $200, $300, $500," and nobody thinks about the payback part, or even knows how to do the payback part.
Right. So there's a strategic way to do the payback part, but also, yes, we need to be teaching our children sooner. And yes, it's not free money. You got to know how to pay it back, because it was like, her negotiation was, no, you can't you got to pay it off. It's not money that, you just max out and then you figure it out.
And then that's it. Throw that one away and get another one.
Let's be honest. I will tell you that at 19 years old, that's what I thought. Oh, I could get every credit card. I remember my first credit card was Annie Says. Me and my best friend, Melissa, we had Annie Says credit cards and we maxed it out. Mandy's, we maxed out. And was like, how are we going to pay that back? Because we had no job. We had EOF jobs. So it wasn't like, I think we were making like $8, $9 an hour working at the school, signing people in and out the dorm, watching fights. I think when we went to Rutgers and then they were just throwing, sign up for this free t-shirt. We give you, remember, calling cards. We'll give you calling cards. If you sign up, that was the biggest thing, for us. So I don't know. So yes, we need to be, it's not about, let me tell you what I have learned. It is not about obtaining the credit if you can, but it's about how, is what you said, how you pay it back, how you maintain it, and how you do not go into debt because of it. So I'm curious to really learn, because even how old I am, at the age that I am at 42 years old, like there's a lot of things I don't know. You know, you saw you were privy to the conversation with my daughter today when I was talking about a car, and it's just the things that, you know, they don't know. And I'm like, when I'm talking to her about a car and the APR and all this other stuff and how you maintain and how you need to pay the principal and all that, those are things I did not know. I did not know. Credit was not taught to me like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, that is going to be our topic in a little bit. But in the meantime, because we are going to come back to it and talk about it at length in detail. In the meantime, hot topics wise,
yes.
Let's see, what do we have going on in hot topics? We said rest in peace to Biz Markie. We said rest in peace to Frankie, Keisha Cole's mother. What else was going on? Did we miss anything else that happened this week? Anything major?
Well,
Anything big?
That was the basic. A lot of people got sentenced for the storming on the Capitol, but they got light sentences.
Really?
A lot of people, you know, I watched my favorite news show. I'm not going to say what that is because some people might have a problem with that. But yes, they were not sentenced to basically what they should have been sentenced to. So they were kind of lenient, you know.
For storming the Capitol building.
For storming the Capitol and putting everyone at risk. They
for
were not.
Complete insurrection.
Yeah.
Are you saying that they got a slap on the wrist? Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Is anyone doing any jail time?
Yes, but the bare minimum.
Like 3 months, 6 months?
And let me be accurate with you. Talk while I look it up.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just want to know what the American standard of fighting against, you know, these laws and truths that we hold so dear. You know, I mean, if there's no if there is no consequence for not upholding this law that we hold so dear, it just, you know what, never mind, I'm not even going to go into it, but the irony is astounding that we just,
maybe Jeff tells us
that we just talk about.
So law. Jeff said only one person was sentenced and he got, am I upside down?
Yes.
Oh God, how did that happen? He said that the person got 8 months.
8 months?
8 months. Am I good now?
Yeah, but just come down a little bit. Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Nope, that's not better. There you go. So,
yes.
8 months.
8 months. 8 months.
But over the years, if you did not uphold the law over something such as grass, you could get 8 years.
Yeah.
For the selling of grass, you could get 8 years.
And the dog fighting thing, how many years?
But for storming the Capitol, the very crux of our civilization as we know it, and breaking all of those rules, and the police officers, the Capitol police officers that died as a result of that storming, your time in jail is 8 months, which means they're probably going to do 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying to me?
For good behavior.
Okay.
I'm just. So that was a big thing. That was a big thing this week.
That's what you. Okay. Listen, I just wanted to make sure that I had you right. That this civilization here, this country here, where we hold all of our rules in such a high regard, to the point where you can follow another human being and murder them in cold blood because, you know, they looked suspicious. and you can get off. And you know, just we hold all of these rules so dear, but you mean to tell me that we can storm something that is the very civilization of this country, the crux of the civilization of this country, and whatever. I'm just gonna go ahead and we could just move on, because you know some things aren't adding up, and you know what? It's just not going to add up. So I'll just go ahead though. All right. So what do we have next?
So wait, I just want to say that the Justice Department actually wanted it to be a 1.5 year prison term, and the prosecutors argued that you know it would send a strong message if they gave him 1.5 years, and they did not. They gave 8 months. But they were going back and forth. The prosecutors were going back and forth. But he's also ordered to pay $2,000 to repair the damage caused at the Capitol.
There was only $2,000 in damage. I mean, did y'all not see?
Can I just tell you that
scaling the wall, like all the windows that were taken out, and like all we want is you know what? Okay.
Wait, but the maximum sentence is, can you see me?
Yeah.
The maximum sentence is actually 20 years. And they did not get that. So I don't know.
Well, they didn't even give 20 months. So, you know, whatever.
I mean, they did say that some people's will be higher and some people's will be lower. Let's see what it looks like. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
So
right. I'm gonna stop it right, because I could keep going.
So do you go to like federal for that? I've never done jail time, but did you?
I mean, that sounds like some 8 months sound like county.
I'm like wondering, like where do you go?
It's not prison. It's just, you know, you just go to jail, and you just sit in the county for 8 months.
And does he get time served? Because he had on like an orange jumpsuit.
So they already had him. First of all, why are we only talking about one person?
Because that's the only person that's been charged thus far. Only one person has been charged thus far. I'm sure everybody got, you know, 581 people were arrested, but they haven't, you know. And I'm sure, let's just be real, I'm sure they didn't get everybody, you know. I'm sure they didn't get everybody.
So all that video and everything being televised, because I'm gonna tell you what though, if that was me that was scaling the building, I'm pretty certain that they would have found out that it was me, and they would have found out exactly where I live. They would have found out exactly where I brought the equipment to scale the building. They would have found out who was on top that I was climbing up to. They would have found out who was below me. They would have found out how long I was in DC. They would have found out that I got a D in math in 5th grade. They would have found out that
but I stole my teacher's science book in 6th grade.
Right. Do you understand? They would have found out about the pack of gum that I stole from Bradley's when I was 7. They would have found. You understand what I'm saying? Like they would have found out every single thing if I was scaling the Capitol building on rope. They would have found out everything, but they have all that video. It's completely televised, and they don't know who anybody is. They don't know who nobody is. They got one man so far. That's it.
He will pled guilty.
Get the hell out of here. Some more foolishness that I want to talk about.
Yes.
With the billionaires going into space. Can someone tell me what's going on with that? With all that's going on,
can we just leave
the fact that we are still in a pandemic.
Can we just leave space alone?
But what is with the billionaires' race to space? What is this about?
Good question.
This flex of how much money I have. that I can purchase and customize a spaceship to go to the edge of the moon and come back down just to say that I did it. What is this about? So Jeff Bezos just went just came back down. What was it, yesterday or today? Mm-hmm. And then prior to that, you had what's the Virgin Mobile guy?
Who's the Virgin Mobile guy?
The man, the billionaire.
Okay.
Virgin, airplanes, the Virgin Mobile guy. Billionaire. I'm sorry, probably trillionaire. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But he went first. Jeff Bezos just went, I think it was yesterday or the day before. Mm-hmm. And then you have oh gosh, I don't know these billionaires' names. What's the other one that's gonna go? The one from, what is it, Tesla? Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. Elon Musk is also planning to go into space as well. There is a race between the billionaires of who could get to space first. And my question honestly just is why? Can we race for people to have clean water? Can we have a billionaire race for nations of people to have clean water? How about a race for some of these vaccinations or anything that's going on with COVID? How about the fact that we still have bodies that were on ice for I don't know how long for people that died in a pandemic the entire year? But because you got money, you racing to go to space just to come back down. Okay. Can we have a race in healthcare reform?
Yes.
Can we have a race in police reform? Mm-hmm. Can we have a race in any of these areas? But instead, who is the poet from the 1960s that wrote Whitey's on the Moon?
Good question.
Gil Scott-Heron. Gil Scott-Heron spoke about everything going on with social justice, but Whitey's on the moon. all of this going on this particular planet, but Whitey's on the moon. You got to listen to it.
I will listen to it. Actually.
You got to listen. You got to listen to Whitey's on the Moon. But it's Gil Scott-Heron. Either way, I don't understand what any of this is about, but it does give me Whitey's on the Moon vibes, considering that we are in the middle of a pandemic. We're in the middle of a financial crisis. We are in the middle of we're on the brink of another industrial revolution, where infrastructures are about to be rebuilt in mm-hmm. certain countries. We have so much going on that needs to be done, but we are racing to the edge of space to come back down.
We should not be. We have way more other concerns. As I said before, we have, the Delta issue going on.
Yes, the Delta variant with
the COVID. Variant COVID going on.
Yeah, so we talked about this actually last week on the show with mm-hmm. the new Delta variant that is going around. Mm-hmm. But apparently this one is harming younger people.
Yes.
So we know when COVID first began, those who were at risk were the older generation, mm-hmm. but now it seems the generation that is at risk currently is the younger generation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we have to be careful, everybody. We have to be careful, everybody. Whatever your personal choice and decision is, please just be safe.
Absolutely. I think to me, I just think that we shouldn't be so lax until we are like, it's gone. And I think that what we did was we opened up the world. There are some people that got vaccinated. There are some people that did not. And you know what's funny is that some of the vaccinated people have actually been getting COVID, right?
Well,
Again,
yeah,
the Delta, the variant, yeah.
Yeah, well, COVID, I mean, the vaccination isn't a end-all be-all cure. Is the hope is that it creates more of a barrier so that you don't die from it.
Right.
Not necessarily so that you don't get it.
Right.
Yeah, so the hope is that it's not as severe if you have the vaccination as opposed to not having it. So, yeah. I mean, either way, it's all still scary. But let's get into some learning because I have pen and paper.
Me too. I'm ready.
I just
ready.
Want everybody to see.
I am
got
ready.
my notepad here. I got my pen here. And I am ready to learn. You said you ready? I am ready to learn. I am ready to get some credit tips for the evening. If anybody who is in the chat, hello, first and foremost, anybody
everyone,
in the chat. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat so that we can get these things answered, these questions answered. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest, Mr. James Gray, who is going to come in and talk to us about credit. He is from, what's the firm he is from, Queen B?
Bear with me. You got it. Do you have it on your?
No.
He can actually tell us himself. He comes in. I just real quick introduction of him. I just have have had the pleasure of knowing him. When I tell you all my life, I probably don't remember time without him. Since I was literally like 3 years old. Always been really smart. He was one of a lot of people that I admired as a kid. And I'm just super excited that he is doing big things with people and helping them maintain their credit. I'm super excited about that. I don't want to touch my screen right now because I'm in a good space. But we can actually, bring him in and
he is here.
So introduce himself.
Yes, everybody, please help us to welcome to the virtual Owl Show program this week. We'll be back in studio next week. The virtual Owl Show program with the virtual round of applause, Mr. James Gray, everybody. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Good.
We are well and blessed to be here. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation.
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm glad to be. And I do sneak in. Sometimes I know y'all, it's a lot towards women, but I do sneak in stuff. So I'm happy to be on with you.
Oh, listen, the show is for everybody. We can all learn from everything, you know? But listen, I have my pen and my pad here. I am ready. I am ready to learn whatever it takes.
We in learning mode, so we ain't gonna do a lot of talking. We'll ask some questions.
This is not why we are not in studio, because I need to be by my computer. I need to be by my notepad. I have the glasses on. I am in learning mode. I am ready to go.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm so happy to be here. I'm glad you're ready to go. I hope all your listeners are ready to go, right?
Yes.
And all the people who are going to hear this and we're going to share this with and everything, I hope everybody's ready.
Yes,
because it's so important. This is vitally important. I know, I say this to people all the time. My parents are from the South. They didn't teach me these things, right? And for the most part, in our Black and brown community, nobody taught us these things, right?
Absolutely.
You might have had one uncle, one aunt who may have known something, and but for the most part, nobody told us this. Taught the most is go to school, get an education, get you a good job.
That's it.
And get the things you want.
And you're right.
And a lot of that is true. All of it still remains true. But there's another side to this, right? There is this whole credit side. And so I'm so happy to have this opportunity to come and talk with you guys. Now, listen, I am not going to start this conversation without first putting Queen B on the spot for a minute, because I've been knowing her too long.
Yes. I said all my life.
She was a little young lady, a little girl. I'm listening, but she was a good alto. She was so one day,
Oh my
one day I have
God.
to come back and I'll have to share some pictures. I do have some pictures.
Oh my God.
Yes, James, please, James, please.
I have to do that. You know, I know she's a queen now.
Every time I get a picture of her from when she was younger, I save it as my screensaver when she calls me. So that's what pops up. So
every time I call her, a younger picture of me pops up.
Right. So if you have it,
hilarious.
please, I'll take it.
Well, I have some more with ponytails going this way and that way.
Yes.
The choir robe on. I got some stuff for you.
I need it. I need those, James. I need those.
Oh my God.
Nice. But I'm so proud of her. I'm proud of you both. I'm proud of the things you guys are doing. You're helping to empower. You're helping to enlighten our communities. You're helping to not just women, but everybody, right? And you provide a platform that brings education, information, you know, that provokes us to think. And so thank you so much for that. So
thank you.
All that aside, now let's get to it. So I didn't know how this was going to work, but what I can do, I'll start talking, and hopefully you guys will engage me.
Of course.
There you go.
Of course.
Absolutely.
So listen, your credit is so important to you, and I know again that nobody taught us this in school. They didn't teach this in school. Our parents didn't teach us this, and I don't blame our parents because it was something that they didn't even know about themselves, right? But it's so important to us being a part and living here in the United States of America, okay? I want to make that clear because not every country looks at a credit score or deals with it. But here in the United States of America, they set up this system, this game, right, that we all have to live by and abide by. If you want to get a car, if you want a house, if you want to get an apartment, if you want to turn your utilities on, if you want to get a cell phone, you want to rent a car, hey, guess what? If you're looking for a job, they look at some form of your credit and your credit score. So it's so important to everything that we do. And at the end of the credit score, you can save more money. You can keep more of your money in your pocket. We understand that much right now, but I'm telling you, you can. If you have a good credit score, your insurance premiums are lower.
True.
If you have a good credit score, you're not asked to put down such a large down payment on things, right? I have clients who live all over the United States, right? And so, especially some that live here in New York, right? So they'll be like, I'm going for a new apartment. Well, I had this one young lady, she went to get an apartment before she came to me to help fix her credit, and her credit score was not as good as probably it could be. And they asked her for 3 months security. Now in New York, she was already paying $2,400. So you think about that. 3 months security, that's almost $8,000 to be paying this. We already know it's not even big in New York, right? So it's just like a closet. But those are the things that happen when your credit score is not where it needs to be to get the things that you want. And I want to stress this. It's not just about having a new car. Right? It's not just about getting a new house, right? It's not just about finding a luxury apartment. It's about changing your lifestyle and the lifestyle of your family. I want to make that clear. The lifestyle of your family. One of the things that we don't do early enough is teach our children about credit, right? And how to give them as we say, a foot up or a leg up in the game, right?
Yes.
And so some of our other brothers and sisters of other nationalities, they know full well to put their kids on their credit cards at a young age to build them a credit score before they even get out of college. So you wonder why they're able to go out and get that brand new Honda or whatever they want right out of college because they already got a 750, 800 credit score. So it's about more than you getting a car and you getting a style for you and your family. It's about moving your family to a place where you know that the education will be better, because you have a credit score that'll allow you to get in there to do that.
Absolutely.
Right? So these are all the things that I try to stress to people. And a lot of people get it. Some people don't. But then they tend to come, right? After I told you not to go get that apartment, after I told you don't go to that mortgage company because they're going to look at your credit score and they're going to see that your credit score is not high enough and you're going to get denied. And so I want us to get into a place where we work on it now. Here's one of my now, so that when you need it, you know exactly what you're working with. You're not walking into a car dealership. You're not walking into a mortgage company and handing them all this paperwork and they come back and tell you that you're denied.
Right.
You need a co-signer, right? You don't want to do that. Fix your credit, exactly what you're working with, okay? So I'm going to give some basic take for.
Wait, one second, James.
Sure.
For some reason, you keep
freezing
on our end.
Yeah.
No.
You're there, like it comes back right away, but
it comes back, but it keeps freezing. I want to just make sure that we are hearing everything and that we are getting every juicy tidbit of what you're saying.
I'm so mad right now. Let me call Verizon up now. My credit score is good. Don't play. Don't play, Verizon. Listen.
Listen.
Okay, if you can hear me okay right now, right?
Yes.
If we don't have this problem then maybe go to a break and I get my Wi-Fi. Okay. So again, I don't want to take for granted who knows what, because you know, our audience, we never can tell. So the first thing I want to educate you on, not educate you specifically, but all the listeners on, is that there are 3 different credit bureaus, right? So there's Equifax, there's Experian, and there's TransUnion. All right. Neither one of those credit bureaus are government sanctioned. They're not, there's no government overlook committee that watches out for them. They are 3 independent companies, right? They make their money on buying the information about you, okay? That's how they make their money. They make their money by buying that information. So, for instance, you're going for a house, right? Or you're going for a car. You go to that car dealership. You say, this is the car I want. They're going to go back in the back and run your credit. And they're going to say, okay, well, here's what your score is. One of those credit bureaus gave them that score. So the first thing I like to always teach people is that they're independent companies, and you very well may have a different score across those companies. I'm sure if you ever check your score, you'll notice that.
The variation, yeah.
Exactly. So there's a couple of reasons behind it. Number one is that they all use a different scoring algorithm, all right? How they determine the weight of what you buy or what you purchase, how long it takes you to pay it off, the amount of it. They all have a different algorithm. The other thing is that everybody that you do business with does not report to all 3. So you can go to and get a car and they might say, thank you, we approve you for the car. And that car company may only report to Equifax, may only report to TransUnion, or may only report to Experian. It may not report to all 3. So I get a lot of questions sometimes. It's because not everybody reports to all 3. Some do report to all 3 and some don't. So that's why you'll see your score a little different. They don't report to all 3, and they all 3 have a different scoring algorithm, okay? The other thing that's very, very, very important in this is that it's not only important about your report is also important. So, I'm gonna take you back a little bit to grade school, right? In school, you were gonna report card, and your report card, you'll have grades. Well, think of your credit report as your report card, and your score as that grade. And so what I would ask, or what I would say to you is, how well are you doing? Are you failing? Or are you passing? Or are you just skating by, right? Are you just that C average person that's just skating by? You have pretty decent credit where you can get approved for stuff and not necessarily denied, but your interest rate is still going to be very high. So you have to be concerned about not just your score, you have to be concerned about your score and your report, right? So think of your credit report as your actual report card that gives the financial information on how well you are doing in your financial school. Make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. And please stop me anytime you want to stop me.
Oh, and listen, I am letting you talk. I'm all Jews and gems, because when this show is over, I'm sending it to my children. So I don't even want to talk too much. So you go right on ahead.
I don't want to interrupt either.
Okay. So now here's something else. I'm gonna give a couple free tidbits as well, so that your audience can have it and they can use it and whatever. Since we've gone into the pandemic, I'm gonna back up just a little bit. One of the things I think is important for every single one of us to do and to know is what's on our credit report. You need to know what's on your credit report. Here's why. We found that over 85% an error of some sort. So that error could be in the form of your name was spelled wrong, right? Because you know us Black folks, we are, you know, we slick with how we spell a name.
Yes, we do.
We slick with how we spell a name. So, you know, on the credit, it could be James, but they may have spelled it Jaymes. Well, that's not my name, right? That's not how I spell my name. So that would be considered an error on your credit report, right? So it's important for you to get all three of your credit reports and find out what's on them. Here's the other thing. There's been a lot of identity theft that has been going on.
Yes.
Nobody's done anything in your name. And I always tell people who are like juniors or number twos, all this stuff, mainly for men, you know, you want to make sure you get it, because you could have someone on your credit report that really belonged to your parent, your father. Wasn't even yours. 1974, you was 6 years old. Right. I didn't have no cable back then, right? Although we know parents were tricky. They put
I was about to say, now we know the parents that did that, right?
They did that, right?
Like, why I got finger hut? Like, I don't even know.
He's like, I ain't never in my life ordered no sheets from Finger Hut. Why?
Right.
So you want to make sure that you get your credit reports. Now, here's a free tip for right now. Because we've been in the pandemic, you can go to annualcreditreport.com and you can order all three of your credit reports for free. But as many times as you want to, up through April 2022. All right.
Okay.
Normally you wouldn't be able to do that but one time a year, and then they charge you $39 or $29.
Right.
But now, since we're in the pandemic, you can go to annualcreditreport.com and you can order it for free. So I want people to start there.
And you get all three.
You can get all three. It's going to ask you which ones you want. You just click the buttons, tell them you want all three.
Did not know that. Okay.
Okay. And you can do that through April 2022.
Okay.
Right? Because of the pandemic.
Okay.
All right. So it's important to get those credit reports so that you know exactly what's on your credit report. And then you want to review that credit report. You want to look for, like I just said, is it your name, right? Do they have the right addresses for you? Do they have the right phone numbers for you? Did you really, have a bill from Macy's that went into collections? Making sure that all those things that are pertaining to you are yours, number one.
And are accurate, right?
They are accurate, right? So here's the Fair Credit Reporting Act in 1970. They passed a law that says you as a consumer, you have a right to dispute anything that's on your credit report. Anything that's on your credit report, right? That was passed back in the 70s. What that did is that challenged the credit bureaus to say, if I'm going to hold this correct, I cannot just be holding information that somebody supplies to me and it's not really his. I should be taking it off. Now we know all three of those credit bureaus are like any other company. Sometimes they take it off, sometimes they don't. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you all have seen sometimes where somebody said it has to be on a 7 to 10 years. It doesn't have to be on a 7. There's no law that was ever written that has to be on your report for 7 to 10 years. It stays on there because nobody goes and disputes it and fights it. Nobody challenges it. So it sits on your report. When those negative items are sitting on your report, it's holding your score down.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to make sure that you get the reports. You dispute something that you see on the report that does not belong to you, because you don't want things that are inaccurate on your report stopping you from getting that house or whatever you want to go out and get, or even stopping you from getting the job that you want, right?
Right.
So you want to make sure that the reports are accurate as possible. Now, there are some things that are on there that may be even outdated, may have passed the statute of limitations. Every state has a statute of limitations on how long something can be on your credit report. Now, you won't know that until y'all hire me. Ching, ching. That's my plug.
There you go.
That's my plug. But every state has a statute of limitations when things should have fallen off the report. Again, if you do not dispute them with the credit bureaus, they're going to let them there. They're going to let them sit there. They're not going to move them until you come after them. Okay, so that's why it's important for you to get your credit report so that you can know exactly what's on your report. You can review it, and then you can say, okay, now I can make a determination on what I need to do. Because if I'm going for it, not appearing on my credit report, like late payments, right? Mm-hmm. Like collections, all those things, like charge-offs, right? I have many people who qualify with the score to get a home, right? Because here in New Jersey, New York, the tri-state area, you can get it from a 640 and above.
640, yeah.
Right above, right? But if the mortgage company pulls your report and they see you have all these charge-offs, they see that you have a couple other things on there that look negative to them, you that mortgage. So you have a score that looks good, but you have a report that says she needs some work, right? And so you want to make sure that you are looking at both of those things. Somebody might, because I can drink some water. I've been talking since I got on here.
Oh, I know, right? I know. You're like,
listen, because I'm literally just jotting down some things. So, again, the statute of limitations. I was always under the impression that it wasn't a state to state thing, but the statute of limitations was that 7 years that something had to remain on your credit report. So what you're saying is it doesn't have to be that long, but each state has its own time limit and each state has its own time frame.
Absolutely.
So there's a workaround for everything, pretty much.
Absolutely. And I just helped, and he had something on his report that was, I believe, was 8 years long, and it should have come off in 6 years because that's the statute of limitations in Kentucky. Right? So every state has a different statute of limitation that old item should have been fallen off your report. But again, you won't know that unless you start reviewing the information that's on your report. And
now, I do have a question. Go ahead.
No, you go.
I have a question. So let me I'm gonna just say that yes, we talked about this. I'll reiterate this, that I was definitely not, I was one of those kids that had stuff with my name before I even could write my name, you know? Okay. And I know that, when you get a little older, like we said, you go to college, I had a lot of debt from college, let me get this Mandy's card. Let me get this, Fashion Bug card. Let me do whatever. And I did not. And just the build up of just everything. Student loans, of course, and we all know we all got those. We went to school, graduated, they throw money at you. You can't pay, we don't have a trust fund set aside for us. So honestly, that's basically.
I love the meme. Thank you so much, Sally Mae. I don't think I'll ever be able to pay you. I love every time I see that. I'm like, yes. Because that's something my ministry right there. I just I feel that in my spirit. But go ahead.
I will say that I did not know until I got old enough to buy my first car, or not even my first car, because I'm gonna be honest, I still was uneducated about my first car. Did not know about APR. Did not understand APR. Did not understand what was high. I tell this story all the time, really quick. I went to a car dealer. I am there, sitting there with bad credit. Okay. I'm talking about the guy is making marks on the floor, going back, to talk to the finance people, right? They going back and forth. They going, can you put this down? Didn't I say I have nothing? Meanwhile, a guy, no lie, I tell this story all the time. His name was Kevin. Kevin came in with his car keys to his other car, and he was like, hey, how are you? He was like, I'm on my lunch break. And this card that I have out here is going to conk out. And I just need someone, I need something new, whatever. So they go, how's your credit score, Kevin? He's like, no, it's great. It's great. I lied to you not. Okay. And then, you know, I'm sitting there, I acknowledge Kevin. I'm like, hey, how you doing or whatever. And Kevin, they go back there, they run his credit. His credit must have been spanking brand, you know, good, right? They come back with him. I lied to you not. He has a car. He has a car. During his lunch break, he's like, I'm just gonna go outside and clean this one out. So I'll get the brand new one. Okay, good, right? Kevin got a brand new car on his lunch break. And guess what I'm still doing? I'm still sitting there.
Sitting there tapping your fingers.
And guess what he says to me? The irony. He's like, good luck to you. I just want to tell y'all, that's when I knew, like, you know what? I got to do better.
Yeah.
I got to do better.
Yeah, that happens. That unfortunately that happens to so many of us. And, you know, I use this all the time. You know, I'm a church guy. So I use it all the time. You know, we come to church, we testify. God blessed me with a car. God gave me a car. And that payment is high. That APR is outrageous 24.99%.
Right.
And
Talk about you ain't putting no money down.
No, he didn't bless you. He didn't bless you. They worked that out. And now you're going to go home and cry because you're going to be hiding that car 3 cities over later because you don't want the repo man to come and get it.
I will tell you this though, James, I will tell you this. I did not know. I will tell you how foolish I was. And we are very transparent on this show. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be very honest with you. Even in my 30s. So now I know about APR, right? Now I know my credit score has to be a little better, of course. What I didn't know is that, you know, the length of the loan, like, you know how you can do 3-year, 5-year. Give me the 6-year because I want to pay this amount of money, this, that. Not knowing that is like you pigeonhole yourself.
You really did, right? Because most times, I use the same thing again. Most times we go out and it's a used car. Mm-hmm. It may even be a brand new car. You know, we should only be paying for it maybe 3 or 4 years. We want to draw it out 5 or 6 years. And before you get done paying for it, the car done died on you anyway.
Yes.
And now you're stuck with a car payment, and now you got to go get another car, and your credit still ain't good. It's just a mess. So you're right. We pigeonhole ourselves. We put ourselves in these holes that we cannot get out of. But guess what? That's what was the intention. I don't care what anybody says. That was the plan. That's how they make money. That's how they make money. Mm-hmm. Banks make money because they are banking on you to miss your payments.
Yes.
So you can pay that APR rate at 24% on that $800 and they can get all that extra money. Mm. Banks made over $8 billion last year just in overdraft fees. Overdraft. So they are banking on you to miss your payments. They're banking on you to not have the money to do it. But that's how we get trapped. I'm going to give you another tip since you brought it up on what you should do before you go get a car. I mean, besides getting your credit score up, number one.
Okay.
The other thing that I suggest, and I use this and I tell everybody to do, join a credit union. Join a credit union, right? And then get pre-approved for the dollar amount that you can get pre-approved for, right?
Okay.
So that when you go look for that, when you go out and get that car, you know how much money you can spend, right? And that way they're not going in the back, running your credit. Because what they do is they go in the back and they're going to go through different banks. And you'll go home the next day or next week, you'll see now you have 8 inquiries on your credit report.
Yep.
They ran it 8 different times at 8 different banks until somebody decided to take you on. But if you join a credit union and then, you know, you become their customer and you get pre-approved for your car, you know exactly how much money you're dealing with. You can take that pre-approval letter with you in your purse, in your hand, whatever you have, look for your car, say, this is what I want, da-da-da-da. And once they say, okay, here's the deal, you slap that letter on the desk.
So you don't tell them beforehand?
Nope, don't tell them beforehand.
Okay.
You work out all the deal you need to work out. And then boom, I already got my own credit union financing my deal. So let's just sign these papers so I can go.
Okay.
You can go on Phillipsburg and get you a car too.
See, I love Navy Federal Credit Union. It has been good to me.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. They up your they up, you know, if you're good payment, and for 6 months, every 6 months they up like everything. So I love them. But I never knew honestly, I just know you schooled me on something, because I just knew you go to the car, you work out the deal or whatever like that, and then you know, and you're right, you have like 10 inquiries before you even I didn't even get a car,
right.
You know,
and all those inquiries are hard inquiries, and they drop your score,
right?
So that's why you want to pay attention to that, because it's going to affect your credit score when you leave there.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about collections. That is the one thing that that's the one thing I don't understand. I will tell you this. So I know that, you know, you don't pay or whatever, it goes into collections or whatever like that. Now I have negotiated, you know, been calling the, you know, company or whatever and being you know, can I pay, you know, make a deal with them, or sometimes they come with a deal for you, you know, you pay in 3 months. What I don't understand is if something is removed for collections, how the heck does it appear back on your credit? So
there's two things, right? The only way that happens is if you as a consumer, right? So I'm going to go back a little bit more. So we're going to talk about collections now. Let's give a little understanding of how a collection happens. So a collection happens. Let's just say you decided you wanted to go to AT&T and have your cell service. You go with them. All right, you working fine. You find out they just not working out for you. You decide you're going to leave them, but you ain't pay that last bill, the $235.
I've done that.
Because I'm aggravated with you, right? So now I'm going over here to T-Mobile. And I'm my phone through them, All right. So then AT&T says, you know what? And so they're going to try to get the money from you. Once they make their attempts and they're not getting that money from you, they're going to then sell it to a collection agency. So a collection agency comes and they buy that debt from AT&T. They may have paid AT&T $50 for something that you owe $400 for, right? So they buy it from AT&T. Now they're going to try to come to you and collect that money. So that's how a collection appears. Now, the tricky thing about collections is a collection agency can sell it to another collection agency, right? And another collection agency, because they're all trying to get it. So now your phone is blowing up. You got all kind of numbers coming in. These people, and you scared to pick up the phone now, for real. Like you're telling all your friends, text me before
tell them I'm not home.
Listen.
You tell all your friends, text me before you call me, girl, so I know that's you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is the truth.
Absolutely.
That is the truth.
That's the truth. So they sell it off to the collection agency, and then the collection agency, then now they're going to try to collect it from you. So they're going to try to call you up, and they're going to send you letters and documentation to do that. So that's how a collection occurs. Now, your original deal you made with AT&T, you did not make it with ABC Collection Agency. And so you don't owe ABC Collection Agency any kind of explanation or anything.
Okay.
If I'm going to work a deal with anybody, I'm going to call AT&T up and work the deal out.
Okay.
Right? Because I do owe them. It's legitimate. Y'all made me mad. I didn't like the way you treated me, but I do owe you, right? Because I didn't pay you your money, because that's what I signed up for. So then,
now, will they still work with you after they've sold the debt off?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And you don't have to talk to a collection agency at all. And I tell people all the time, a collection agency calls your phone, hang up on them.
Don't answer.
Don't even talk to them. You owe them no explanation. And trust me, if they have your phone number, they got your address. They can send you a letter in the mail if they need to.
Okay.
So if something's in collection, and so now we work on you paying it off or whatever, paying it down, or it just gets deleted, because you can have stuff deleted off your credit report without even paying it, right? It just gets deleted. The only way that item comes back, the only way it comes back is two things. If you get on that phone or you in writing admit to that item, it opens the door back up and opens a new window for that collection item to appear back on your report. Okay? Or if your settlement with AT&T, you did not ask for a pay for deletion.
Gotcha.
A pay for, what is it? You didn't ask for what?
A pay for deletion. So AT&T, I'm going to pay you whatever amount we agree to. If you say you'll take 50% of what I owe you, or 60% or 75%, I'm going to pay you that.
Okay.
But when I pay you that, here's what I need you to do for me, AT&T. I need this deleted off my credit report.
Okay.
And they might say, well, we don't do that. Well, here's what you do. I need you to stop reporting it to the credit bureau. Because that's the only way the credit bureau gets it. Somebody has to report it to them, right? So every month, if you look at some detailed information on the stuff on your credit, you'll see last reported, last reported.
Yes.
Because somebody had to report that to them. So it only appears if you, in writing or on the phone, say, yes, that is my debt, or if you do not get a pay for deletion to have that completely deleted off your credit report.
Now, if I do answer the phone and say it's not my debt, is that still acknowledgement of something, some sort, or?
No, that's not. That's not.
Okay. Okay.
Because you know they're putting you on a recorded line. They want to hear you say it so they can open that window back up again.
Gotcha.
And so it may have been off your report, and then all of a sudden you see it back on your report again.
Yes.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Yes. So do not. I tell people all the time, do not talk to them on the phone. Do not. And don't give them anything in writing.
Okay. So that was great.
And then if you're gonna pay it off, with somebody, say, I will pay it off, but I want in writing from you. And some of them will do it. They'll send you an email. I want in writing from you that this is gonna be paid, and you're going to delete it from my credit report.
And James, this is before you pay anything, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Absolutely, before you pay anything.
Okay. So we have 2 questions in the chat. So the first one is, why is it when someone runs your credit, it affects your score?
Okay. So there's 2 things that you'll have on your credit. You can see what is called a soft inquiry and a hard inquiry, right? So when you go out and get a car, you go out and get a home, most times those things are hard inquiries. And what that means is they're not just reviewing your score, but they're looking at your credit report. Remember I said sometimes you qualify for a home because you have a good score, but they can look at your report. If they see these collections and they see these charge-offs and they see all this stuff, they can still deny you. That's what they're looking at. They want to see, well, she has a score that says she's an okay person, but really, did she really do that well in financial school? Did she not have any F's at all on her report ever? And so that's what a hard inquiry does. So when you go out and try to get something, that's what they'll do. They'll do a soft inquiry, meaning they just they don't pull all your information. They just want to see top line stuff. You know, is it you? What your score is? That's it. A hard inquiry means they're looking at, is it you, your score, and the report itself to see what's on there. So that they can make a determination on whether or not they can trust you.
Okay. And that affects your score.
That absolutely affects your score. A hard inquiry can affect your score by, up towards 10 to 15 points, right? So if you have a good 2, 3, 4 of them, you're looking at 60, 70 points. That 60 or 70 points is the difference between you qualifying for a house or not.
Yeah. The second question is, what is your view on Credit Karma?
Oh, I'm glad somebody asked that. So
thank you, Denise.
I have nothing against Credit Karma, and here's why. I tell people all the time, Credit Karma, you do not associate it or not use it as your, what's the saying? Your end all.
Okay.
I tell everybody it is not your credit Bible. All right. It's not all the information. Credit Karma gives you an idea of where your score is. And I'm gonna tell you why in a second. It gives you an idea of where your score is. So here's the things you need to keep in mind when you look at most online apps, most of them. Number one, they only get partial information about your credit, only partial. And then it depends on who they're getting information from. Credit Karma, I know, only gets information from TransUnion and Equifax.
That's true.
They don't pull Experian at all.
Yep.
So if you're going to get something, and you base it off Credit Karma, and you say, oh, well, Credit Karma says my score is 690. And you get to the place where you're going to get something, and that place does not do business with Equifax or TransUnion, you're going to be out of luck.
Right.
So how far off are they usually?
I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
So normally if you look at it, so let me just back up one more time for Credit Karma. So what Credit Karma uses They use what use what is called a Vantage score. A V as in Victor, ANTAGE, a Vantage score. That Vantage score is a scoring model that was made up by the 3 credit bureaus, right? That's the scoring model that they use. 95% of most companies that we do business with to this date here in the United States of America use what is called a FICO score, coming from the Fair Isaacs Corporation. That FICO score is what they use to say, I can trust you to give you this loan, I can give you this credit card, you can get this car, whatever have you. That Vantage score on Credit Karma is always going to be, here you go, probably about 30 or 40 points higher than what your FICO score is. I'm going to say it again. That Credit Karma score is going to be anywhere from 30 to 40 points higher than what your actual FICO score is. So Credit Karma deceives you and have you sit at that car dealership walking in there all proud with your new boots on and stuff, think you're going to get that car because it says you got a 690. And they're going to come out front and say, well, you really got a 640.
Yeah.
You know, so just keep that in mind. Okay. But it's a I love it for a learning tool. They give you a lot of information, right? They show you some of the things that are on your report, right? The collections and all that stuff. They tell you ideas on how to raise your score. I love that part about Credit Karma. They give you ideas on how to raise your score. They give you ideas on what credit cards you might be eligible for at this moment, at this time. But do not use it as your Bible. And that goes for not just Credit Karma. There's Wallet Hub.
Yes.
Credit Sesame. There's all that goes for all of them. But see, that's why I say it's important for you to pull your credit reports so that you know exactly what's on all 3 of them.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question about Credit Karma.
Yes, it did. So my question is, we've talked about cars. Let's get into real estate.
Okay.
Someone who wants to purchase a home. Tell us first steps, because of course, everybody immediately, let's pull your credit report and let's see what's going on here before you can apply for any mortgage loan. So tell us the steps in that process and what people need to know, because as African Americans, we are trying to transition people into ownership, and we're trying to transition people, starting with our credit. Let's get into ownership, and then let's move our culture forward, even though it would take us about 200 years to catch up to others, right? But let's do some baby steps now. So
and get some legacy going. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are the first steps there?
So I think we already hit on, right? The first thing is that you need to pull your credit report because you need to know what's on your credit. Again, when a mortgage company is looking at you, they're not just looking at the score, right? Because every state has a credit score where you can qualify to get a home in that state. And based on that score, you can get that FHA loan, et cetera, VA loan, whatever have you. What's even more important, like I said, is what's on that credit report. That mortgage company will deny you if there are too many red flags on your credit report. So for me, when I tell people about getting a home, I say the first thing you want to do is know what's on your credit report before you go sit down, because it's going to determine a lot of things. It's going to determine how much money you're going to be able to get for the home you want. If I see on your credit report that you have a bunch of charge-offs and you have a bunch of collections, I'm not going to trust you with that $300,000 and $400,000. But I might be willing to give you $150,000. I don't know what that's going to get you here in New Jersey, right? But it might get you something that get you a nice a startup or a rehab place, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying to you is that you need to make sure that you know what's on your credit report before you go and sit down and talk to anybody about a home, because those things are important. And here's why those things are important, right? Because we talked about it a little bit before. It determines the amount of mortgage you qualify for. But not only that, it determines the number of years they're going to give you on that mortgage, and it's going to determine that APR. It's going to determine that. What percentage of that loan you're going to have to pay based off of that mortgage. So all 3 of those things are important. You want to keep them as low as possible. You want to keep them as low as possible so that you don't have to pay so much money out of your pocket to get that home. So those are things that you need to start with. Now, there's so many other things, right? I worked in financial services for over 20 years. So, I know that you got to look at your income. I know all of that. You got to look at your debt to income ratio.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you owe in other places versus how much you bring in? All of those things are factors into you going out and getting that home. And they're important for you to understand and know before you go out there. Here's what I want everybody to do is to be educated. I want us to know before we go. Because a lot of times we go and we get disappointed when they tell us no. But it's because we do our research before we went. And had you done your research, you might have said, well, you know what, baby, honey, whoever, we need to wait for a couple of more months before we go do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's put these things in place and then we can go qualify for a home. I was talking, one of the couples that I help out in Louisville, Kentucky, they called me a year ago and we started working on their credit. Before they went and got their new home, which they moved into in another 2 weeks. Their home was being built from the ground up. But they did it the right way. They said, let's start focusing on this stuff now. Let's clean it up. Let's work on our income. Let's make sure our income is where we want it to be. Let's make sure that we reduce some of the other debt. Let's pay off some things we can pay off, right? Because all those things are factors into you getting a home and it being a blessing and not a curse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Because yes.
James, I gotta go here with it.
Okay. I'm gonna drink some water while you do all that.
Yeah, get your water break in because you're gonna be talking a little more when I say this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Student loans, James.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dying.
Did I say it, everybody? Did I say it? Student loans, James. How does that affect your credit report in the purchase of a home?
Okay, so it's a couple of ways that happens. Number one, it affects it in your debt to income ratio, right? Because that student loan debt, most times, this is why I tell you, man, I have so many things. I need to be running for Congress or something, because you end up paying so much money for school. And you can't even get a job that pays you enough to pay it off.
No.
Right?
No.
And so you end up all of your life running around with this student loan debt because they said you need to have a master's, you need to have a degree, or you need to have a doctorate to get a job that only pays you $70,000 a year, if that.
If that.
And your student loan debt is $180,000.
Yes.
So So student loan plagues most of America. So how does it affect us? It affects us in that debt to income ratio, right? Because we owe all that money. The other way it affects you on your credit is if you are not making those payments. You're not making them on time.
That was the question. That was my question for you. Yeah.
On time, or you're missing those payments, right?
Mm-hmm.
A student loan is not bad to have on your credit report. Don't shoot me yet. Hear me out. It's not bad to have on your credit report as long as you're able to pay it on time and you're consistent paying. Because a big percentage of your credit score is made up of your credit history. So most of us, you ladies are nice and young and everything else, are of a certain age, right? And I know you just got done with school, so, of a certain age, right? So that student loan was some time ago. But that history, as long as you paid it off, that history has helped or has lent to you having a nice score, because your credit looks at the amount of credit history you have. It's about 35% of your score, all right? So when you talk about how does it affect your credit, it affects your credit and your credit score and all the other things you want to do by how much debt you owe, right? And if you've been making those payments on time or not. If you've been missing those payments or you had late payments, it's going to affect you negatively. But if you've been paying them and you've been on time with them and you haven't missed any, the only thing you have to worry about is that debt to your income.
Okay.
Your credit is not going to be affected negatively.
And for late payments, do credit cards? I remember before, not the car that I have now. I'm actually the car. Listen, it took me to 40, but I was able to get one of those lunchtime cars. I went to. It took me to 40, but I went in and they said, "Oh, okay," and literally within 10 minutes they said, "Oh, okay, you want this one or you want that one? We got this one for you. Got that." I said, "Oh, okay." So
I'm still dreaming. Okay. I'm inspired to be Kevin. Okay.
Yeah, I got a Kevin card now. You know what I mean? And I didn't have to go through the whole rigmarole of life and and all of that.
He didn't have to beat his shoes up in order to get your loan approved like they was doing for me.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. So it took me to 40 to do that. However, my question though is late payments, because
yes,
the cars I've had prior to now, it wasn't a complete missed payment where it would be a full 30 days, but say 7, maybe 10 days late. Well, some of them were 30 days, but that's another life. Okay. But let's say 7 to 10 days or something like that. Does that affect your score?
No.
What's considered late?
10 days do not affect your score. 30, 60, 90 days affects your score. 120 days affects your score. Gotcha. Okay. You can have a car payment that's due today, right? Mm-hmm. Today is what? Today's the 20th. Yeah, something like that. You can have a car payment due today, the 20th, and you might not pay it until you say, "I get paid Friday. I'll pay it on Friday."
Right.
That's not considered late.
Okay.
Only late if it's 30 days after your due date. That's when they start reporting it.
Okay.
So most times you look on your credit reports, you'll see. They'll have these boxes, say 30, 60, 90, 120.
Yes.
So that's when it's considered late. Any one of those dates is considered late.
Okay.
Late payments, okay, this is very, very important. Late payments can cost you anywhere from 90 to 100 points on your credit. Yeah.
But you know what I noticed too is that it's like you have and this has happened to me. Let's just be transparent. So you know how you grooving and you paid for the first half of the year, you just grooving. Yes, you made some things for the new year, resolutions or whatever for the new year, and you're like, all right, I'll pay my car note on time, this, that, and the other, right? For the first 6 months of the year, you like, yes, I'm winning. Ching ching, everything's good. You get your little bonus. You do your thing, right?
Yep.
The next 6 months, because Christmas comes, school comes if you have kids, school comes for the kids, just the rigmarole of sports or just anything else that you have.
Yep.
And here we go. You have a late payment. And I'm not going to say her late payment. I'm talking about 30 plus days late payment.
Okay.
Why does it take so long for you to build back up from that? Like, I feel like, if I miss the payment in June or July, in order for my credit to even I have to pay consistently for like the next 6 months, right? In order to build it back up.
Yeah. You didn't think they were going to make it easy, did you? They are not going to make it easy for us at all. And that's why I tell people, especially when it comes, I know we're moving around a little bit, but especially when it comes to credit cards and things like that, right? I tell people, if you cannot handle the responsibility of a credit card and you are not willing to live with this card, don't apply for it.
Okay.
Now, I know that's kind of, they say 2020 is whatever. 2020
easier said than done. Too.
Easier said than done, because we all went to college. As soon as we got there, we started writing up because we ain't had no money, right? Let me get a credit card, whatever, have you younger. But if you cannot live with it, and if you cannot accept the penalties that are associated with it, do not apply for that card. I tell people all the time, if you apply for a card, be willing to live with it and be willing to make those payments. And I always tell people, even if the payments, even if your balance is higher than you want it to be and you can't pay the whole thing off, at the very least, make the minimum payment and make it on time.
Okay.
So here's a rule of thumb. Here's another free tip that I use in the game that I would suggest most people use. You have credit cards. What I do with all of my credit cards, number one, you want to make sure you're using them at least once a month, every one of them that you have, because that helps build up your score.
Okay.
Right? So you want to keep using it. Number two is based on how much I use of that card every month, I make 2 payments on that card.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So let's just say my balance is $500. 2 weeks prior to that card due date, I'm going to pay $250. And then 3 days prior to the due date, I'll pay the other $250.
Okay.
Here's why.
You said 2 weeks and then 3 weeks? Wait.
2 weeks, 2 weeks and then 3 days. So if my balance is $500, 2 weeks prior to the due date, I'm going to pay $250, half of that.
Okay.
And then 3 days prior to the due date, I'm going to pay the other $250.
Okay.
Here's what happens. The banks, they count it as 2 payments, right? So I'm showing good, responsible credit behavior. And then number 2 is that we don't know specifically, even though they gave us a due date that it was due, we don't know when that bank is reporting it to the credit.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I want to make sure that I've gotten it back down.
And you're clear.
They reported and I'm clear. Okay.
Do you pay your balance off completely every month, or do you pay to 30% of utilization?
You come up with some good questions. I'm going to answer that one too. Very good question. So my rule of thumb, this is how I do it, is I pay it off, right? So that when I'm ready to use that card again, I'm starting with a clean slate.
Fresh. Okay.
Fresh.
All right.
I pay it off. Now, here's another trick that most of our communities do not know, but I want us to practice more.
Okay.
Whatever your credit limit is on that card, you're only supposed to use it up to 30% of that every month. So for instance, if you have a credit card that has a $500 credit limit, you should only be using up to $150 of that card a month.
Wow.
Only up to 30%. The moment you go past 30%, it's going to affect your credit score negatively.
You're absolutely right.
And then the higher you go, the bigger that negative is going to be.
That's true. That's true.
So practice only using up to 30% of that a month. I know. When you got the card, you was happy to have $500 extra dollars. But but I don't want you running out of here using it for $499. So I'm gonna leave it.
Yes.
No, only use up to 30% of that card, right? And then when you practice that over a nice 6-7 months, then you call the card company up and say, hey, you know what? I've been showing some good behavior. Can I get a credit limit increase? So now I can take it up to $1,000. So now instead of $150, now I can use $300 a month, right? So and all of that positively affects your credit score, right?
Okay.
So let's review that for a minute. You get a credit card, you're only supposed to use up to 30% or below a month of whatever that credit limit is. If you're making those payments, a trick of the trade is to pay half of the payment 2 weeks prior to due date and the other half 3 days prior to due date.
Okay.
If you use that behavior, you're going to see your credit score increase.
Because, and you're right, because this is the thing. We don't really, what we normally do is, if you get paid, twice a month, or even if you get paid every other week or whatever like that, you can do those things. You can actually do that. And it, for one, it makes it better for you financially because everything is not in one check or whatever like that. That's one. But secondly, you're absolutely right in that was my era a lot of times where I didn't know. First of all, paying the bare minimum like you is not good at all. You will never pay down that credit card. 10 years then. Yeah.
So 10 days, yeah.
Right. And then the fact that there is a difference between the reporting of it as opposed to the due date. And we always need to know the difference.
Yep.
And that we fail to know that.
And here, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. James, I want you to get your point out. Unfortunately, we are coming to the end. We literally have about 1 minute or so left to the show. But I want you to get your point out. And then I want you to tell everybody what it is that you do and the services that you provide. And where we can reach, we can reach. But go ahead and get your last point. Yeah.
The point I was going to make with that, and I want us to start using this as well, because we don't understand how much power we have. You can call any credit card company. You can call, the banks you do business with and say, based on when you get paid, you can change your due dates, right? You don't have to stick with the due date they gave you.
Okay.
So, you get paid on the 15th and the 30th. You can say, hey, can I have my due date to be the 17th of every month? Right? Because and a lot of times people struggle because they don't do that. It's like, oh, Lord,
that's true.
I get paid on the 30th. Now I got to make this last until the 8th because I got to pay this bill. No, change your due dates. Call them up. They are willing to work with you.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm so mad that I got to change because I got so much more to give you guys.
We're gonna do.
You gotta come back. You gotta come back.
No, seriously, we're gonna do a part 2, James. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Maybe we're gonna talk behind the scenes and get your schedule, but we're gonna do credit part 2.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to.
Good. Because I have so many things to do because we're in this pandemic and there's some things.
That's the part that I wanted to talk about too.
Need to know about, right? Because there's been a lot of moratoriums on rent. There's been a lot of moratoriums on mortgage. There's been a lot of moratoriums on making payments to certain things. Student loans, right? They help you making payments. They're going to lift that stuff soon. It's going to come back off, right? And so people need to be aware that, getting your finances in order is going to be important. Unfortunately, they're going to lift this moratorium on people paying their mortgages. And if you haven't been a good steward of your money and your finances, and you cannot pay, because trust me, I told everybody, if you're going through this pandemic, if you can make the payments, make them. Don't ask for a moratorium. You keep doing what you were doing, because they're going to come back and they're going to want that money. They're going to want it. They're going to get it either. They're going to find a way to get it from you now, or they're going to find a way to tack it on to the end. And if you're not responsible enough to do it, you're not going to be there. Okay, so we can come back and talk about that. All right.
Yes. We're going to check it. We're going to check the schedule.
Yes. So now, what am I supposed to be telling you now? Oh,
what do you provide, James?
Yes, actually, what I provide. Okay, see, I'm so passionate about this. I've been doing this all forever, finances. But what I provide now is credit repair services, right? And so what I do and what my company do, we help people repair their credit. And people might say, well, how do you do that, right? So we take care of writing all the letters that you need to have written up to go to the credit bureaus to dispute the items. Remember, I say you as a consumer, you have every right to dispute anything that's on your credit report. Most of us don't know we can even do that, let alone that we should be doing it, because there's stuff on there that's old, erroneous, out of date, et cetera, that needs to be coming off. So what I do is I help people do that. And now what I do, can you do it? Yes, you can, right? But do you want to take the time to do it? Because it's a process. We got to go back and forth with the credit bureaus. Because
I don't got time.
They're the independent companies, right? And most people don't. They will tell you that in a minute. Nor do you always know all the wording to put in to get things taken off. We deal with bankruptcies, tax liens, right? Student loans, all kinds of things, collections, all those things. We know exactly what words to put into documentation to get those things deleted off your credit report. Why is that important? Because we just talked about it. The things that are negative on your report, you want to have them taken off because it helps your score increase, but also it makes you look good on paper when you're trying to go get something, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's what I do all day, every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. People don't even let me rest in church. I'm in church, my phone going off. I'm like, can I get my praise in for a minute? But that's what I do. My company is called Next Level Living Credit Solutions. I'm on Instagram at NLL_credit_solutions, right? I'm on Facebook as Next Level Living Credit Solutions. I gave a flyer and everything.
Yes.
Where all my information.
Which I'll share. I'll share it by itself so everybody gets all the information.
Okay, great. Which has my all my contact information on there, right? But again, like I start off by saying, is that this is more than you just having a good credit score. This is about empowering yourself and your family.
And a whole lifestyle change as well.
Lifestyle change. When you fix your credit score, you can move to different areas where you know your kids are not going to be slighted because of the community that they live in, where they get better. Because let's just face the truth. I know y'all talk truth all the time. The healthcare that we have in some of our inner cities is not good. But when you can move your family, I literally had a young lady, I won't give her name, who moved from the projects into a suburb here in New Jersey. She cried. She thanked me so much. She said, because I did not want my kids to continue to grow up in that.
Absolutely.
It can be life-changing.
And just breaking generational curses.
Absolutely. All this debt that we've been in all of our lives, nobody told us about, and we've been running around talking we've been blessed, but then we lose stuff because the repo man come in, or they turn it like we can't pay on it. That's because we did not know any better. But as Maya Angelou said, once you know better, you do better.
Do better. Absolutely.
Better. So I want people to start out by getting their credit repaired, because once you do that, you look at all of your finances differently. You look at what you can achieve financially differently. You look at what your kids can accomplish financially differently.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You're
sir.
right.
You
Listen,
really
we have to have you back. I'm also going to call you on the side because I'm trying to get into some real estate ventures here myself with some rental properties, and I have some family goals and things I'm trying to do.
Me too. Yeah.
And I'm not expensive either. Let me just say that. I am not expensive.
Well, James, I'm going to call you.
I mean, I don't even care because what you about to do, you know what I'm saying?
Look, I'm
I got
calling
to pay
you,
to
so
get it good,
you know,
right?
we good.
And I tell people that all the time, because I know I say it in jest, but I'm very serious about this, because people think it's expensive to do, and it's not expensive to do. And what is going to be the result of you getting this done is going to save you so much more money down the road.
James, if we want shoes and all that, I'll pay for my shoes. I'll pay for what I wear. I'll pay for everything. So if I need something that's going to benefit me and my legacy, you can't put a price on that.
Right.
Honestly.
James, give us the site again. Our producer is texting us time to wrap up. So I want you to give us your site again, and then we're going to talk to you behind the scenes, because if we can have you back as early as next week for the part 2 continuation, we will. That would be
great. Yeah.
Yeah, while we're all in this realm of getting ourselves together. But give us the site again and how to contact you.
So my site is on Instagram, NLL_credit_solutions. Next Level Living Credit Solutions. NLL_credit_solutions on Instagram. On my Facebook page is Next Level Living Credit Solutions. So you can reach me on both of those.
Yeah, I follow both.
Those pages, right? And then I have my email address on my flyer and my phone number, right? You can call me and text me, because I know that this seems to be a lot of very personal to people. People don't walk around sharing their credit score.
No, they don't.
You know,
That's
people
true.
even get a little touchy when you talk about it. They don't.
Yeah.
So I know it's a little personal. So you can text me on my phone as well if you want to have a private consultation, or you want to get started on repairing your credit. So you can reach out at any one of those locations, and then you all have the information. You can share it as much as you want to whoever you want.
Yes, we'll do.
We're definitely going to do that. And James, we're going to see if we can have you back as soon as possible, because I want to continue on with this conversation. It is imperative. As much as we talk about relationships and healing, this is just as important. So again, if we can have you back as soon as possible, then that's what we're going to do.
Let's talk about it, okay?
Listen, thank you so much for your your wisdom for
welcome.
this evening. I am going to be resharing this show throughout the week, also sharing it with those in the next generation as well, so that they can get on it sooner than later. And I thank you so much. I have learned so much for today. This is my page of notes. I don't know if you guys can see that. This is my page of notes for just today. And I'm looking forward to filling up this page too when we speak to you the next time. And I will be calling you this week.
Okay, great. I look forward.
Thank you.
And thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, James.
Thank you.
All righty. Talk to you soon.
All
right. See you soon. All righty. Bye-bye. All right, everybody.
That was great, wasn't it?
That was great. We are learning. This was our educational evening. We had the glasses on. You got the suit jacket on. So we were in learning mode. For tonight. But yeah, there was so much that I learned this evening. Even
me too.
Just basic stuff that I probably should have known already that I learned for this evening. So again, if we can have him back immediately, that would be awesome, because we're going to get a little deeper into things, like he said. With
while it remains fresh in our mind and everything.
While it remains fresh in our mind. Yes. So in the meantime, we love you guys for watching. We love you guys for listening.
Love you guys.
Let all of that get down into your spirit and hopefully help to change you and transform you as a part of the healing that we do here on Outstanding Women Who Help Heal. That is our job. That is what we do. That is what we were put here for. Purpose In the meantime, we love you guys, and God willing, we will be here next week. Same time, same place, different show. Queen B, you have a great evening.
You too. Thank you.
Probably tomorrow morning. All right, everybody.
All right. Bye.
You guys. Bye.